the question I was going to ask you, Brian. What has been some of the best? I mean, yes, you said you enjoy doing the the homes, what do you call them? Retirement,
assisted living. Did you call it? Yeah.
Oh yeah, assisted living.
Okay, so besides those, I mean, what have been some of your favorite stand-up I guess venues that you've done that when you were done you were like, yeah, that was a good one?
Can't wait to get back there.
Yeah. Oh, you always have those shows. I just did in Savannah last month, I believe it was, and it's a good room. There's times I've come here and had one hell of a show. Last time I was here, it was fantastic. It's called the Savannah Comedy Review. So once a month room here, but it's pro show, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And they get some pretty big time. They had Gallagher here, as a matter of fact.
Oh, wow.
One of the bigger names I can think of. Yeah, so I've done some of the bigger rooms, which are really nice. There's one in Alabama called the Star Dome, and I think I was there for 3 or 4 days, and I think we had 900, maybe 1,000 people in there. It's a big club.
Wow.
Gosh, you know, when you do, yeah, those are hard to, you know, when you go in there and have a good set, it's hard to get any better than that. But you know, I like intimate rooms too. There's a club in Myrtle Beach called the Comedy Cabana, which they sent me a thing, want me to do my veils for them, and so I should be going up there before the end of the year.
Nice.
And then Bonkers, I've done several clubs for Bonkers all over the country, headlining up in Pittsburgh and Indianapolis and down in Florida. So that's the one I'm doing their room in Tunica at the casino there. I know the casino, I just can't remember right now. I haven't looked at my schedule in a couple of days. So I love the rooms that they're right there. You know what I mean? They seat the people, and you're on stage, but you can almost reach out and touch them. You know, and then from there back. I like kind of intimate rooms, but I'm doing a big room is no problem either. I've done, you know, James Gregory, I opened for him at the Peace Center in Greenville, and that was 500 to 700 people. Mm-hmm. So I guess it depends, Todd. I love when I do the big stages, my act's different. You know, it just energizes me in a different way than when I do these more intimate rooms where you're looking at 100, 75, 100, 125 people. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Those are hot. Those are what I call hot. Wow. That's what I love that's when I love to play. That's when I play.
In the LMAO recording that I saw, how big was the audience there?
That was about 70. That's an intimate room.
Yeah, because the way you were involving the audience, that was really good. You know, felt like really natural.
Yes.
We're talking about divorce, and it's like, okay, there's the divorcee and this and that, and that was really good. Like I just heard the audio that you sent us, and then I found the video as well, and I watched that. Very natural, very good. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, sorry, I must not have sent the video too. I was probably in a rush, but I just seen
it was in the same
audio.
email.
Oh, was it? Okay. I had just seen that, because that's the thing. You guys know that when you're an actor or a comedian, you know, you do the thing, you do the show, you do the movie or whatever, and sometimes you got to dig and find it. You don't even know the stuff came out.
Yeah.
You've got Todd's got a still from a commercial I did, and I just happened to go to their site one day, and shit, the commercial's out. It's on their site. You know, they put it out September 1st, and it was like September 8th. And holy shit, you got to stay on this stuff. I mean, they don't have time to tell everybody. You know, LMAO shoot all over the country, so they can't tell every comic, hey, it's, you know, because shooting different dates and everything. So it'd be almost impossible for them to keep up with everybody and say your thing's ready. And the same with movies. So I just learned you got to be proactive in this business and chase down every. So I don't know how it happened. I Google myself every once in a while. That is not a dirty reference, by the way. I Google myself every once in a while, and it's
Depends
a lot of
on what
fun
comes
with it.
up.
It tickles. It tickles.
I was going to say they
The,
don't let you know when it was released, but as long as they send you the check, you're okay.
Yeah. So, well, I'm still waiting on that. The thing about it
Whoops.
is yeah, whoops. Oh, there is no check. Oh, shit. Okay. So I Googled myself and I found that Amazon Music, that they had cut my bit out and
Yeah.
stuck it on Amazon Music, and I didn't even know about it. So I was like, oh, well, there we go. And I mean, you know how this business is. You do stuff, you don't get paid, but you do it for exposure. You know that going in. Obviously, I signed NDAs and all kinds of shit for that LMAO, and I was fine with it. I mean, I knew. They said, look, we can't pay you, but it's going to be a good, and it was. I was like, okay, yeah, I can use this. So I use it to promote and send it off to clubs. Hey, you got.
I was going to say to get more work, yeah, because
so you got to do those things.
It's a really good showcase for you. I thought that was really good.
Right, and I worked that club a lot, and that guy pays very well. So you want to come down and do a TV thing? Yes, sir. I will be right there. It's maybe 2 hours from my house, maybe, to get down there. Oh, and you know what the little bonus on that was? Me and Roland Joe Moore, a good friend of mine, he got me in with the club. We went down and did it, stayed on the owner's boat. And I should say yacht. It's not a boat. This is like 40, 50 footer or something. I don't know. He's got 4 bedrooms in there. Let's put it that way. And
Nice.
yeah. So I was like, there's a little bonus. And yeah, exactly.
Check that one off.
Right. Let's put it this way. When he goes to the Bahamas, he just gets in his boat. See you later. And he's gone. So I think they're looking at opening a club down there, and that's what us comics. There's only select comics that work that club down in Hilton Head, because it's mainly a magician that does it, and he rotates out us comedians that he likes because he wants to take a break, or he's going to a magic conference, or he's going down he's maybe opening a club somewhere on the islands. And if that happens, hello, guess who's going to be going to the island? He's going to rotate us out down there too. So, because he can't always be down there doing his room. So that's the way it works, folks. You do a good show, and you're good to people, and you help them out, or go do something for them.
Did you
just keep
mention
doing
before? Did you mention before that you did some cruise ships?
Yeah, I did Carnival for a little while there, and
how is that different to doing the the other types of venues?
Well, you got to have a lot of material, because when you do 20, 30 minutes, your next show cannot have any of the jokes that were in that first show, and the third show can't have any of the jokes in the first 2, and the fourth show can't, blah blah blah. Yeah.
Really?
And, you got to have a clean set. Yeah,
because it's the same
you got to
audience.
have a clean set for family time. Yeah, then you got to have a dirty set for the late show. So you got to be very versatile. Yeah, but I've got a lot of material, but I also like to play with the audience and have fun with them. So I do some improv. I've never been one of these. So what do you do for a living? I've seen those comedians. What do you do for a living? And then, they go around the room. I don't do it that way. When I say improv, it's different. I can't even explain how I do it. It's just, I do shit. People react. Somebody says something. I go off in a mean way, but I'm like, I go off on whatever they throw out, and it could be a 2 minutes or it could be 5. I mean, and then I might even call back to that later on in the show if I can tie it in with my material. I did a hour and 20 minutes recently at a little club in North Carolina, and I think, I'm not even kidding, I think 45 minutes of that on one guy, because he just wouldn't shut the hell up. And I was happy about
Oh, a
it.
heckler.
Yeah, I don't know if you'd call, yeah, I guess it is a heckler, but he wasn't being mean or anything. He just couldn't shut up. He was just one of those guys that wanted to talk. And I let him, because I was going, well, he's eating my time. That's good.
Yeah.
And as
Right.
long as the rest of the audience are enjoying it.
Keep throwing it out there. He was throwing a lot of good shit too. And I was, boom. There's a softball. You know. And that's the latest video, Back to the Road, BTS Back to the Road, that my buddy Drew Howard, he put that together, and he showed a little bit of that, of me going off on that guy. And I said, yeah, put that in there. You don't have to put a lot of stuff in there, Drew. Just put about, I don't know, 2 or 3 minutes. And I think most of it was going off on that guy. And,
An hour and 20 minutes. That's a feature film right there.
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
there you
Yeah.
go. That's your Richard Pryor stand up right there, Bob.
Hey, wouldn't be a bad idea to actually get those shot and try to get them on Tubi.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah. Yeah. I was wondering if, I don't know if Tubi does that. Do they
Yeah,
do stand-up?
they have stand-up stuff on there.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that might be the next thing.
Yeah.
I have to fly
make sure-
you guys out.
Yeah, if you need somebody to, shoot it.
Shoot that.
I know a guy.
Because yeah, those are over my head, because I don't know all the and I don't want to deal with that. I want to deal with putting my show together. So
Well,
that's what
I'll come and shoot it, and I'll put it together.
I smell a
and-
partnership forming here. I can see the BRIAN T Shirley special directed by Todd Braley. I can see that. Now
No,
on
I've been
Tubi.
toying- Yeah, I have been toying with the idea, and what I'd like to do with it is kind of have it not quite like a mockumentary, but I would want to do, not straight
Before the show,
straight-
after the show.
not-
Yeah.
right, not a straight stand up, and then maybe an interview, but the interviews lead to the bits. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talk about it and then show the bit on stage, and stuff like that. I'd love to do
That's
that.
good. That's good, because you can also call it a documentary, which means that on some sites it would be more easily accepted as well.
Right. And I know a guy that did, Phil Perrier. He just did one like that. But I think they shot it a long time ago, and then he's just now put it together and put it out. So
yeah, even Eddie Murphy had elements of that, in Raw and Delirious, with some parts with the family, or fake family, I should say, and then also when he was coming up into the gig and everything, there was like a before.
Right.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's nothing new, but I mean, if I'm going to do something like that, I don't want to do just a straight, here he is, the comedy. All right, thanks, and that's it. I like to make it a little more dynamic than that.
Okay, let me know when you're ready.
That sounds good. Todd's already charging. Todd is charging the batteries, for the camera stuff. He's getting it ready.
I am charging the batteries, getting things ready. Let's go.
He's had his 10-day holiday. He's all charged up. He's good to go.
Yeah. So yeah, let me know when you're ready for that, Brian. I got you.
Oh, you got it. You got it.
But something else I wanted to talk about, if we can, the writing. When did you start with that?
I started writing when I was
script writing. Yeah.
Yeah. I think writing, period, is what anybody needs to do if they're going to be an actor, comedian, a director, whatever, in entertainment. So I started writing when I was a kid, not even knowing what I was going to do. Just I would write short stories or sketch comedy. Then I started trying to write novels. You know, I've still got some. I'm in a hotel looking for my shit that's at my house. Anyway, what you do is you
surprise.
What you do is you just continue to write. I don't think you should ever pigeonhole yourself. I know some people go, no, if you're, you know, you got to be definitely a comedian, or you got to be definitely a horror, you got to be definitely a drama filmmaker. You know, I don't believe in that, to be honest. I think you just go, let it flow, man. And if it's going to be funny, go with the funny, you know. And all of a sudden you come up with an idea like I have for, you know, a thriller or a horror movie, go with it. So that when I was a kid, I did that. I wrote all kinds of shit. And then I kind of narrowed it to comedy later on. And now over the last 10 years, I think I've kind of spread back out where I'm like, let it all flow again like I did when I was younger. So to answer your question, I started probably about, I don't know, 8, 9, just writing stupid shit. And just continually wrote until I started partying too much when I was in my teens. And I think, you know, going, you know, being a teenager and doing stupid things kind of, I still wrote a little bit, but I really got creative again when I got Air Force and was around other people and started getting back into that. And that led to slowly led me doing stand-up, because I was doing squadron functions. I was always writing stupid shit and showing it to people. So when they had a squadron function and they want to do something silly, they were like, get Shirley. He's always writing stupid shit. So they would get me to write captions for pictures. And next thing you know, I was emceeing it, you know. And always loved being creative. And writing to me is where everything starts. It all starts with writing.
Yeah, as I say to people, I started writing when we were still using a pencil.
Yeah. And I still do. When I get a script, I write out my lines, and I write out the other people's lines. I write out my scenes that I'm in. That's the way I start to break down everything. So
I think that just shows how old we are.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you can't get out.
Hey, was that a pen, young fella?
Yes, it was a pen.
Right.
It was a pen.
Wait a minute. Is that cursive?
Just so happens that it is a Infinity Media.
I know that company.
Man. Yeah.
Oh, wow. You got your own ends.
What do they do? Human trafficking? I'm just tying it all back.
Yes.
Wonderful.
That's where his name's from. That's why he's called Itai.
Yeah, let's not get people canceling us. They're a film production company. God damn it.
Well, you know what? I was just thinking when you were talking about doing those rooms and stuff, Brian, what did COVID do? I mean, obviously it, you know, shut the whole flipping thing down, but I mean, how did you survive throughout that?
I had to deliver pizza and work at Total Wine for a while, and then slowly started getting some more trivia stuff. So I was touching the stage a little bit, which helped. And then I started putting my own shit out. I wrote a thing called CRP News, where I played a news guy. I did about 10 episodes of that, I think. Mm-hmm. And then by the time I got finished doing those, I think we had started with Anguish, the short film Anguish that's on Spark TV all the time. Mm-hmm. I don't know how when you look back, you know what I think happened? Somebody wanted a scene for their film, like Shane Ryan's thing where he tied everything. So I was doing another one of those, and I sent them the scene, and for whatever reason they didn't use it. So I said, hey, if you don't use it, let me know, because I like the scene. I'm gonna build a thing around it. So I built Anguish out of one scene. and I can't even remember what scene it started with, but it was somewhere in the middle, and I built the beginning and end. And so as bad as COVID, I mean, geez, man, I remember the beginning of that where I would walk to the end of my road and I could see a major highway that went over the river, and there'd be one car, and it's like 5 PM, and it's you felt like you're in a damn zombie movie or something, you know?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so for a while there, creatively, nothing, because you're just numb, you know, and you're just even wondering what's going to happen, if you're going to live, you know. So finally, after all that got done, slowly things, when they started coming back, I said, man, if I can get through this, I'm fucking going full balls to the wall, and I'm not looking back. Screw it, you know.
Yeah.
And I slowly dropped everything and just said, that's it. I don't have a safety net. I don't need one. I don't want one, because you know what a safety net does? I've found
Relax.
a safety net. It keeps you in that little cage that you're in, because you're always going, yeah, well, if this don't happen or that don't happen, I still have this thing under me, you know. But when you're operating without a net, every morning I get up. If I'm not going to if I'm not going to a set, or if I'm not going to a show and I'm in town, I'm on that computer and I'm doing auditions, or I'm looking for stand-up, or I'm doing voiceovers. I got a studio in my closet right now, and that's it. That's what I do.
Gotcha.
And, yeah, I got to get I need to get a 2-bedroom so I can have a studio like Todd has, so I can.
It is pretty cool, huh?
Well,
yeah.
Hey, when I say in my closet, I'm not lying.
It's funny when you mention that, but it's like, you know, people think, you know, actors, you know, you work once in a while, you have auditions, you do that. But people who hustle, who take it seriously, it's like a full-time job. You get up in the morning, you record auditions, you write some stuff, you know, you try to get something going, you talk to people, networking, all the rest of it, try to get on projects, try to get your own projects going. It's a full-time job. Yeah.
It is, if you're serious about it. And, you know, and there's people that do it for fun, that do it for part-time. I mean, I know a lot of those folks, and there's nothing wrong with that. And I have nothing against that.
It's a great hobby.
It can't be for me now, because you know, I got to do before I die, and that's, you know, that window starts shutting. You're like, I need to get this shit done, man. I got to get on the road here, because you only got so much time on this planet, and you got to think about what you're doing. Yeah, there's times I screw off, but you know, I feel bad if I do too much, though. If I screw off too much, I'm like, no, you dumbass, you better get back into it. And you're like, okay.
Yeah, I think as a director, I think I started feeling that window at about 40. It's like closing. You know, you think, how many more features do I have in me? But then as you keep going, you think, I don't care. I just got to keep making. If I start thinking about it too much, I'll make less. So yeah, it's interesting, but I think it helps push us. You know, if we were 20, we would probably be taking our time.
Yeah, and I've got the one thing I've learned is that I'm not that great at editing, and it kind of
join the club.
Yeah, I kind of shied back from doing stuff, so I've got people pushing me more than I'm pushing myself, which is good, because I do have people going, hey, we need to do it. You know, I can't tell you how many times Ron Fraser, who is the lead in Anguish, has said, when are we doing another one? You know, and I don't blame him. He's gotten, y'all know this feeling. Todd, y'all know this feeling. When you do a film, you direct it, you write it and everything. And of course I'm in them too, but I take a step back sometimes. Like I was the bad guy, but all I did was voice, really. I mean, you saw my body, but most of it was voice. He got work for being the lead in my film. Now that, how good does that feel? That feels better than a award or something. It's like,
Yeah.
you know what? I wrote something and I got this guy work. Holy shit.
I
you know?
agree. Yeah. That's
And I
that's
know-
yeah. It's a great feeling. Yeah.
And I know y'all have had that happen too.
Yeah, well, I'll throw this little story out at you guys. Back when we were doing Surviving the Undead, Kiera Hall, who plays Deborah in the show, she had no background in filmmaking, acting, or anything, and she was like, you know what, I'm going to give this a shot. So and I worked with her mother, and I just told her mom, I said, hey, I'm looking for somebody to play this part. Well, she had both of her daughters come and audition, and I went, okay, I'll use her for this, and I'll use Kiera for the lead. I said, how do you feel about being the lead on a television series? She was like, okay. Okay, no pressure. And so she took it on, and she goes, I don't have any acting experience. I said, that's all right. Sometimes that's better. And anyway, just to make a long story short, as we got further into it, she originally had plans to do other things in her existence. And as it turns out, while we were
you mean not acting?
Yeah, it had nothing to do with the entertainment business in any way, shape, or form. And she basically then during one of our shoots, she had an interview with the people from SCAD. And yeah, when you said that, I went, oh yeah, I think I'm going to tell that story. So anyway, she heads off. We were shooting, and she goes, we knew in advance that she had to go. So when we were shooting, I kept looking at my watch going, okay, so if we get that done, we get that done. And then at one point I knew how long it was going to take her to get from where we were shooting to where her meeting was. And so at one point I just said, okay, we need to stop right now. We'll shoot some other stuff. Kiera's got to go to her meeting. And so she heads off. She heads off to her meeting in her outfit from the show. We had just shot her and she had blood on the front of her and coming out of her mouth and everything. And I just told her, and I was giving her enough time to go so she could clean up and go. No, she jumped up. We were out in the middle of a field. She jumped up, ran to her car, and left in her costume and covered in blood, and showed up to her meeting at SCAD, or for SCAD, just like that. And I guess they asked her, hey, what are you doing? And she's like, oh, I'm in the middle of shooting this TV series that's going to air here locally and that. And they were like, oh, okay. So they went through the interview and everything. And I think it was probably a month later. We were still shooting because it took us like 6 months to shoot that. We were shooting an episode every week. And every weekend, I'm sorry. And so, yeah, we were trying to shoot a half-hour show in 2 days. And at one point we even took a month-long break, but I think it was probably 2 or 3 months after her initial interview, she comes back and she comes over to the house, and she just said, I got in. And not only did she get in, she got in on a full ride scholarship.
No way.
A whole shooting match. And a lot of it had to do with the fact that she showed up covered in blood. And
they weren't going to forget her, were they?
Nope, they were not. They were not.
That's a good way to stand out. Yeah.
Well,
and so, yeah, that's I get what you're talking about on that front too, Brian. It's one of those things and my wife always tells me, she always says, there's a lot of people that have worked with you that are doing something different because you said yes.
Yeah.
And so, it's one of those things. Yeah, you feel good about it. It's like I've had something to do with a lot of people's careers, and not that I'm sitting here patting myself on the back for it, but it's one of those things, just like you said, Brian, it feels good. I've got a lot of pissed off mothers
Right.
that didn't want their kids to be in the entertainment industry. And still to this day, some of them will not speak to me because of it.
Oh no.
But they got the bug, they got passionate about it, and they're doing it, and they're making a living at it. And that's, as we all know, being able to do what we love is a big deal. It's a huge, big thing. It's a big thing. So yeah, that's all right.
It's funny, but even the people that you meet early, in this journey that you help kind of push along, when they get successful, let's call it, or make it or whatever, it's not necessarily because you feel like you were a part of it, but there's still a feeling of pride or accomplishment in their accomplishments. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
I get that sometimes, with my indie artists, with Todd, whenever something good happens, it's like, let's keep that going. Let's keep pushing that. It's just, it feels like something's working, even if it's not necessarily on your own projects or something like that.
Yeah. I tend to follow the actors I work with and look at what they're doing, and or not only the actors I work with, but a lot of the actors I've interviewed on the old show I had. Wow, some of them have really blown up. I mean, I'm like, whoa, so I followed them and watched their films. And a buddy of mine, Will Roberts, he's starting to blow up real big. And this lady I did a movie with called Mark of the Butterfly, and I haven't seen it yet. I play a asshole. I was doing my method acting. I did a bad real estate person, and she cross-examined me on a stand. Her name's Brittany Altenbach, and she's in a thing called Alien Shark right now, believe it or not, Todd. But she's yeah, I know. And but she's got she's beautiful. She's been modeling, so I follow all these people that's touched me, and I've touched them in our careers. And I think it's really cool. I mean, I've followed Todd for years and seen all the things he's been doing. And I think it took me about, I don't know, 8 hours to watch Surviving the Undead. I watched it, believe it or not, I watched it all in one day, Todd.
Wow.
But that's been, before COVID. I forgot when I watched it, but I know it was before COVID.
Yeah.
So it's been a while.
Well,
you should watch it now,
when,
since I've gone back and fixed everything and remixed the sound and did the color correction. It's actually 10 times better than it was before, because I was looking at it as I was going through it going, what the hell was I thinking when I and just being able to fix things that when you were watching it going, because a lot of times I was editing these things in like 2.5 days. So, and with no sleep and working full time. So,
yeah.
So Todd, get ready when Brian gets, massive. We can always say, he started on the straight shooters. We pushed his career.
Straight shooters. That's what shot me to the top. Straight shooters.
That's right.
There's your sound bite.
We have it on record. We have it on record. Keep that.
Yes, we do. Well, yeah, you know what, Brian, it's always been, a pleasure being able to follow everything that you've done and see a lot of the work that you do. And, you know, it's appreciated. And I always appreciate somebody like yourself, and then, you know, appreciate Itai and everything that he does. And, you know, there's only, you know, you can count on one hand how many people actually really support you. And the two of you have always been super supportive of me, and that's always been a big deal to me. So, you know, without getting too mushy.
We trash you behind your back, though.
Well, that's fine as long as I don't know about it. I'm good. You know.
In that case, I said nothing.
Well, you know what? So with the movie making thing that you're doing, Brian, with your short films and stuff, I mean, what is it about not just making movies, but supporting indie filmmakers, you know, aside from somebody like myself, you know, and a lot of you support a lot of indie film. And, you know, what is it about indie film for you that makes you stand there and be that guy and be the cheerleader, you know, to outside of possibly getting roles, that you're doing that, you know?
Well, you're right. It is a hope of getting roles, but that's not the big thing. The big thing is it kind of it almost gives you hope in a little bit, because you can watch some of these things and go, I think I know. I think I can see what they're trying to do there. You know, a little bit easier than a blockbuster, or, you know, something that feels so far out there that there's no way you can touch it, you know. And so I think that's one thing. It feels closer than, you know, the polished stuff that you see at a movie theater, which I still love those. But I think that's one thing that I love about indie stuff, is it's just more, it's real. I can touch it almost sometimes. Mm-hmm. And I learn because there's so many things in those movies that are either maybe not perfect, or something you can go, ooh, that transition didn't quite make it there, you know. And you can almost think to yourself, here's what I would have done. Mm-hmm. And but I've done that with, you know, major motion pictures too. But with indie, you can pick it apart a little bit easier, I guess, which is, I don't want to say that in a bad way, but it is. And the folks that do these films do it for love, and you can tell, you know, that they're wanting this thing. They don't have to preach, you know, with their films. They just do it because here's the story that I want to tell. Mm-hmm. And I don't necessarily have to make you believe a certain way. You know, you better believe this way, or you're not, you know, going to understand my film. This is kind of, a lot of them are just kind of like, hey man, I got a story. If you don't like it, I don't give a shit. Where Hollywood seems to be try to please too many people sometimes, or they, you know, only please one slant. Yeah.
Trying to please the pocketbook.
Right. And indie is not like that.
Well, some indie wants to get there, which I don't understand. I would rather stay in indie. I have no, you know,
no Hollywood
desire to get.
Well, you have more freedom as indie too. You know, it's more, like you say, it's more real. It's more art. It's more about saying what you want to say. If you want to be I mean, we're all in this. I think the three of us are all in this because we really want to be, or are, storytellers. Mm-hmm. So we just want to tell our stories. And I think that when you go into mainstream, whether it's Hollywood or not, it gets changed. It's not the story you want to tell. It changes. You know, people
sometimes it's producers, sometimes it's other people, but you get forced into compromising the story.
Yeah.
And in indie, you don't have to do that.
You
just
got some
do-
guy sitting behind a desk saying, no, you can't, that line's got to go because that's because of the way the America is now. That line will offend somebody, or that line is going to, it's like, well,
Yeah.
don't
Or you
do
gotta
the
change
fucking
the
movie,
ending because I think it should be like this, or I don't know. I mean, it's when we talk to Mark Savage, which you can actually go online right now and see his interview.
Our most recent episode,
Yeah, he said the same thing. He's like, he's been making movies for, what do you say, 30 years? And he's
at least
not a studio guy, and
no, indie.
And he's just straight indie, and he's God, his IMDb is miles long, and he's never done a studio thing, and that's kind of, everybody wants to be, everybody always wants to be like rich and they want to be famous, but if they're not working, you got to be working to get to some kind of level. And a lot of it is luck, but just seeing somebody like him and somebody like yourself, Brian and Itai, I mean, and we just keep doing it and not worry about reaching some kind of level of status. And that's, I don't know. I think that the morality of that is on a higher level than somebody who wants to dig into Hollywood. And it's because I worked in Hollywood, and that'll suck the life and the morality right out of you. And it will.
Yeah.
I guarantee it. Although it didn't suck the morality out of me, it sucked the life and my livelihood and my house and my car and that kind of stuff. Because, well, I'll tell you, I'll tell that story another time, but I got blacklisted, and when they say you'll never work in this town again, they mean it. And I lost everything, and which then prompted my move to Colorado. So, but I just
it was
think
a blessing in disguise. Let's put it that
hell
way.
yes, absolutely. I never regret leaving to come out here at all. And I just think that if people looked at stuff that way, the way that we're looking at things in regards to being able to have control over our existence, I think a lot of people would really look less, or they would look at things a lot differently. You know what I'm saying? And that,
I think what I'm starting to learn is, instead of, because I've been in entertainment for 30 years really, and probably all my life, but I'm learning that to stop chasing it, whatever the hell it is to me or anybody else, whatever that thing is you think you want or whatever, don't chase it. Just keep going, and it's going to start coming to you. That's what I'm really starting to learn. Just keep going. Just keep doing it and learning. Keep learning and keep yourself moving forward, if it's slow or fast or whatever, and don't chase anything. You're not chasing anything. You're just working, and you're just doing your creative shit. And all of a sudden, boom, wait a minute. How the hell did I get this? Because you just kept going and you didn't look for that.
right.
You just said, I'm going to just put my nose down and keep working.
Eyes on the prize.
So you mentioned, Todd, you mentioned Mark Savage. He's like the perfect example of this from where I'm looking at things. The guy could have been probably like a major mainstream filmmaker here in Australia, but he thought, "No, I don't like the way things are done here." Back this was in the 80s, and just moved to the 80s, 90s, and then he moved to the US and started, making indie films there, and just found his niche. Found his place in the world in a way, which is really where we want to get, where you're making films. And that's your livelihood. You don't have to have another job. You don't have to worry about paying the bills. The films pay for that. You keep making films. He is also the nicest guy, so it's like, you don't have to be a son of a bitch to get ahead. You can just be nice and be kind and try to help people, and people will help you. And it's all about relationships, as he put it in our interview with him. It's, you don't go and meet people to to get something out of them.
Mm-hmm.
You go to see what you can do to help them, or just to get to know, and all of that. The rest either will come or won't, but you give it a better chance of happening.
Yeah.
And I think that's really what I want to do. I want to get to that point where I don't have to worry about paying the bills. I can just keep making films, keep meeting people, keep talking to people, keep working with people, collaborating. It's just living the dream, really. Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
that's where we're at.
That, I mean, you've now gotten to the point where you're just, that's all you do now. You don't have to have the extra jobs, unless I misinterpreted that. I mean, you're strictly an entertainer now, and that's
right. And the next step is gigs that I want to do instead of gigs that I have to do. And I'm, but when I'm saying gigs, it's still entertainment. But that's the other lesson. You get to a point where you're like, and I've turned down, lately there's things I have walked away from in the last month. As a matter of fact, I turned over a gig to another comedian who was doing an open mic situation, and they wanted me to come back and do this club 2 more times. And I was like, you know what, the money's good, but I'm really not feeling like doing this, so I'm not gonna do it. And I'm happy, because who does comedy on the second floor? And can you imagine walking into an IHOP or I don't know, a bar, restaurant, and there's a comedian up there just telling jokes? No, I'm not going to do. I did it once. That's enough.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of our conversation with Mr. BRIAN T. Shirley. So, Brian, if you want to let people know about some of the things you got coming up here, and then also let people know how they can get a hold of you via any of the social media stuff.
Yeah, you can find me all over the place, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, like a YouTube channel. So just BRIAN T. Shirley, and any of that will pop up. You can Google me, and like I said, I'll be very happy about that.
Tickled.
Yes, it will tickle. So if you want to go to briantshirley.com, I still need to update some stuff on there, but you can see most of the films are on the front. I'm going to add the commercials and stuff like that, and some other things that are coming out. If you want to catch me on the road, look at the schedule for the Comedy Cabana in Myrtle Beach. Don't have a date yet, but I believe I'm there at the end, before the end of the year. October 1st, I'll be down in Hilton Head at the Comedy Magic Cabaret. Beautiful little club there, and the guy built it especially for magic and comedy. They even got a card or a close-up magic room in the back, where they have smaller crowds for the close-up magic. Nice. It's a beautiful room.
Nice.
And be in Tunica December 22nd, and I'll have to send you the casino that I'm there, because I don't remember which one it was.
We'll put it on the bottom of the screen.
Yeah, there's not a lot of them. Well, there's decent. I don't know. There's maybe, I don't even know if there's 10 in Tunica. Tunica's like right in the middle of Mississippi. It's not on the coast.
Gotcha.
Going towards Memphis. I think it's like an hour from Memphis. And then I've got Oak on the Outside out right now on Amazon Prime, and then Treasure Box on Tubi and Vudu, and a lot of those Plex, Watch Free Movies, and I forgot what the other one was. So that one's out
Spark
on everything
TV.
just about. Yeah, well, no, that's Spark TV though has got myself and Todd. So if you want to see Anguish or The Seer, the documentary BTS on the Road, you can go to IBL Network. Also, if you have a Roku, IBL Network's a channel. They carry some of my stuff on there. And LMAO, that's on Binge Networks. That's the I don't know how many they've got, but if you like stand-up comedy, go just put LMAO Binge Networks, and you can just binge watch that for a couple of days at least, because they've shot a lot. Yeah. So I'm on there with my good buddy Roland Joe Moore and Carrie, the magician. He hosted the show, and so that's another one. But yeah, just got a lot of stuff out that some of it I can't even remember. That's how it works, though. You get the commercials. As a matter of fact, you've got the still shot from one of them in my poster that you put together that looks really cool. So I've got the comb over going.
Yeah.
And,
I tried in Photoshop. I was trying to add some hair to it just for the hell of it, and it didn't work. It didn't work.
That's on the Internet Accountant site, and it's on their YouTube page. And also the other one with me in the white shirt, that's from Oak on the Outside. That's where I played the detective.
Okay.
That's Ashley O'Neill next to me. He plays my partner. And I can't see what else is up there. I think one of them's from a show I did. I know one of them's from a show in Virginia, and the other one I think is from a show I did at the dog park, I believe.
I got a couple of your stand-ups in there, and then I got a behind the scenes.
Yeah.
From one, and then the commercial, and then the other.
Oh, the behind the scenes. That's Jane. That's a SCAD film that we're waiting to come out. And the lady that I played my wife in that, we were trying to write something for a grant, $5,000 grant for to put out a short film. So I've been working on all this stuff last couple of weeks.
Well, that's cool.
That's about it.
Right on.
BRIANTShirley.com.
There you go. And Mr. Itai, how do they find us if they're looking for us?
You can find us on The Straight Shooters on Facebook, on Twitter. No, on Twitter it's under MyIndie. You can find us on myindieproductions.com, and of course on Instagram that Todd is handling.
Been slacking
we're around. Where Todd has been slacking.
Yeah, I've been slacking a little bit. So
and you can always find us on our Facebooks. Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks again, everybody, for joining us. And were you going to say something else, Itai?
I was just going to say the email address that's going to be floating around the screen. So
yeah, the email address now officially sits just above your head. It sits right up above your head. So, so yeah, if you guys have any ideas, if you have any thoughts about the show, or if you have anybody that you'd like to see come on the show, go ahead and send us an email at the email that's above Itai's head right there. And thanks, Mr. BRIAN T Shirley, for joining us on the Straight
Thank you, Brian.
Show this week.
Thank you.
And we appreciate him very much. And thanks again to all of you who are liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. We appreciate you guys. Thanks again for watching this episode of the Straight Shooter Show. We will see you all next time right here. Same bat time, same bat channel.